All right, so what I'm doing is I'm setting up a template that we're going to use. Now this is a template that I started back in March, and it's PVC. These are 1/4 inch MDF, right? They fit in there. And this has to do with mounting of the joiner. It makes it really, really simple. But because I changed the design of the I-beam from a 2.5 inch center to a 3 inch center, that affected this. That's why I have to be very careful about what I'm doing. Yeah. Just a couple of them tightened up a little bit. That'll hold it. So again, using a micro bench for all of this. These clamps have been attached. I covered that somewhere else in here, but I'm using the same clamps for what I'm going to do right now, which is to attach the joinery, the knockdown joinery on the two ends. And so again, there's a jig. The jig is not perfect because this has been set up for a 3 inch spacing, but I'm going to jury rig it here to do what it needs to do. Again, this I-beam is being held in here just loosely by a couple of clamps. I have my template, and because this template was designed to fit over 2.5 inch material, the height of 2.5, and I haven't had a chance to make new templates yet, I'm just going to put a spacer underneath there, a 1/4 inch spacer, because 2.5 minus 1/4 is going to set this thing right dead center in the same space. And again, it holds nice and tight because the PVC has a lot of flex to it, and then so the MDF tabs that are in there, it just grabs right on, and it's automatically centered. So then now again, I'm going to use the this is the 7/64 hinge bit, which I don't care about the inside of the bit, the 7/64 part, but the outside is a 1/4 inch, and then that just fits in there like a glove. Makes my first dimple, second dimple, third dimple. And then if I'm doing things right, I'm supposed to take this driver, put it where it belongs, so next time I'm not looking all over the place for it. I then remove the template. That's how easy it is. I have 3 nice little dimples in there. Save my template for later. In the center hole, I am going to use a starter bit first. And then since I'm on that starter bit, I'm going to use the same bit to start the screws on the number 2, or no, on the other hole. Being very careful to keep it parallel and perpendicular and all that, so that, because the screws are going to follow this hole. They don't have a choice in ash, right? So I'm done with all those, with this bit on those. Put it back up where it belongs. Then I have a driver here set up with just a standard, I don't know what this is, it's larger than 15/16, that's what counts. Usually I use a 3/8, but all I'm going to do is just go in, and you go in maybe 1/2 inch or 1 inch. It all depends on what length of bolt you're using. And then I grab my threaded tenon. I put loosely fit in there. 1 screw. Those are the GRKs. Then I'm using my T25 bit. Just to get it started. Oops. And then I keep it loose so that it swings like that. Take the second one, that's going to go into that other hole that we set up, pre-drilled. And then when it gets to the shoulder of that screw, it's going to basically self-center it. I don't know if you saw that, but it's self-centered. That one I sent home now, and we're done with our tenon installation. If I put that driver up where it belongs again. Reach up and grab the other wrench, or I have another manual one here. I can do it. Again, that was just holding that piece for me, so I didn't have to force it. That comes out of there now. I'm going to save those guys. Those are really handy, using those all the time. Put the wrench where it belongs. And now I have the joinery completed, the tenons completed on the end grain of the micro beam. Okay, so what I did is I just grabbed a post that I've been using for other stuff that already had a mortise in it. We'll cover that later, or we already did. Depends on where you're at in this whole thing. And then I grabbed a 3/16 Allen. I grabbed a 5/16 bolt. I have my I-beam with the tenon on the end, the threaded tenon. I could tighten that up, but I don't really think I have to. Instead, I'll try it without tightening the clamps. But again, I'm just testing this anyhow. So basically what I'm doing is I'm putting that tenon right over the top of that. I'll just manually put the bolt in for now. It would be easier for sure if I would have just done it like I said I should have, which is to have put the I-beam in the clamps. But for right now, I'm just going to go ahead and I'll spin it. So I'm just holding it in place manually. And then it's starting to snug a little bit. And then what we're looking for, again, normally you would not put a 3-inch rail on a 3-inch post, because it's almost impossible to get exact perfectness, and therefore you almost always have a reveal, which would mean that most of the posts that I use are probably going to be 4.5 inch. There's like some mathematics that comes into play there, but I'm mainly looking at right now is by just tightening that on there. I just want to show how that everything just goes together. That's it. And so what you have now is post and rail. Using a sample ash post. This thing is built like a brick outhouse. This thing will not budge. This could be the bed, the footboard of a bed, for instance. It could be, that's footboard method, right? Could be another one up here, a taller one. That would be the headboard. We can reduce the top flange, like on a bed if we wanted to. We can increase the bottom one, for instance, to hold the mattress or the mattress boards. We can certainly change the height of this. If you want to put in again, that was a 3 and 3 3/4 inch board, which gave us a 3-inch clear. Well, if you wanted to come up to 10, 12 inches or whatever, you'd use a larger board horizontally like that. Or you're going to see that in prototype number 2, it's easier, I think better, looks better and everything, a lot less expensive to just put vertical boards in, and you're going to see a lot of options there. But basically that's what we're looking at. This could be a railing for a stairway, could be a railing for a loft, could be made out of cedar, could be made out of pine, it could be made out of all this stuff. We could have multi-species in there. We could have larger posts, everything. So that's the prototype number 1, the basic unit without any bells or whistles. So there we go.